Okay, we are live right now. Okay, well, welcome everybody to another edition of Tuning In with Tony. Today's going to be an extremely special day. Over the last week, we've been feeling various energies from the Lionsgate energies that are coming in. It's coming through globally. It's a pretty much a world thing. And over the last couple of days, it's just been soaring, the amount of information and the amount of things that Spirit wants us to do. So we're going to be talking about the Lionsgate energies today, because today is August the 8th. 8th month of the 8th day, and here we are. I mean, how do you make this up? Okay, so we're going to be talking about what to do on this particular day, because this is the highest energy of that we've ever had. Okay, we're going to get more into that. Okay, this show has been brought to you by Higher Self and Podcast Solutions Made Simple. With Higher Self, we've been always looking at getting people to come to a higher vibration in some way. So whether they come in for a reading, we can give them that reading so they get the truth, and that changes your vibration. The things you now know you can deal with. You can come in for a tuning session. I particularly work with sound frequencies, particularly tuning forks. We have all kinds of other things like crystal bowls and gongs and so on, but tuning forks are really my specialty. And this is where we will take a person's energy and they can find that their light during the session in that way. So the whole idea is to raise that vibration so they feel lighter afterwards. We also have various classes that you can come in with, whether it's a self-tuning class where we have 3 different tuning forks that we do. And I think next Sunday we have a class coming up just like that. And over 3 tuning forks will tell you how to clear the energies around you, ground yourself, and how to bring in love. And how cool is that when we can do it ourselves? When you're heartbroken about something, we'll show you how to deal with that over a 6-hour intensive class. In that way. It's an international class from various countries, and we're so honored to be able to teach that to the collective consciousness in that. We also have a podcast called Raising Your Spirits with Tony, and we're on Spotify, we're on Apple, and about 15 others. So tune in with one of those. Just simply put that in, Raising Your Spirits with Tony, and you should find me. We also have a YouTube channel with the same tag, Raising Your Spirits with Tony, in that way. And this gives us a chance to be able to show you various videos on past classes like this that we've done. And it will give you meditations, and there's all kinds of other things that we show in that one. So hopefully you can go in on that one. And monthly classes and the monthly events that we have. The sound bathing event is one of the big ones we have near the end of the month, and that's happening as well. So just go to lovehigherself.com and go to our events, and you can sign up for that one on the 27th of August, or usually it's the last Wednesday of the month. Now we're on that. We're basically going to be doing a special edition of Lionsgate sound bathing this evening. It came up all of a sudden 2 hours ago. Spirit says we just need to make this live and at no cost. So we're going to be on Facebook Live tonight at 8 o'clock, because everything is going to be with the multiples of 8. So 8 o'clock this evening, we're going to be launching a special sound tuning event, and it's going to be going for 64 minutes, which is 8 times 8. And in that, we're going to be able to help you get through the intensive light that's happening through the Lionsgate energies. And this is by far the most powerful one we've ever had, existence-wise. We've never had this kind of light and these kind of intensities ever in our human existence. So some people that are sensitive are going to go through some pretty big shifts. So if you want to come to the sound bathing event tonight, that'll be great. We're going to have it on Zoom, and we're going to have it on Facebook Live at the same time, so that those that can't connect to Zoom can also have the option to do it right on our site, okay, from Tony Genis, and just go to Facebook and you can find us there. All right, let's talk about this. Lionsgate 888, basically in 2025. It's just amazing the amount, and it's all over the internet as well. Over the last couple of days, I've been downloaded so many different pieces of information, and I like to see what other people are talking about in this particular event, because I want to make sure that we're different, that we're not just carbon copying someone else what they're saying. So we're looking at what they're saying and understanding it, and I'm always getting to spirit. Okay, what is the extra thing that we can add? Something that they haven't heard. And you're going to get some of that today, all right? First of all, our color today is light blue. Now, you're probably wondering why it's light blue, because it connects to the throat. But that's because light blue in that throat chakra connects to expression, being able to express something. The only way your heart will be able to express what it can is if that throat chakra is wide open. So whether you paint, whether you sculpture, whether you write, whether you play music, whatever it is, or just be your beautiful self, it's that freedom of acceptance and freedom of expression that is huge. And that is why we're looking at it in a light blue form. Because the Lion's Gate actually is the heart chakra energy. It's going right to your heart. Our heart, with nothing connected to it, is basically connected to the universe. In other words, the heart is not connected to anything on earth. It's basically a universal energy, and that's why it's really hitting that heart. So green is a big color for that. So if you want to wear the combination of green and blue, that's perfectly fine. But we wanted to just stand in one place to realize that for that heart to really say what it wants to say, out of love, out of compassion, the throat has to be wide open to do so. So everyone can see your brilliance. So there's no hesitation, nothing that's catching on. So on the 8th day of the 8th month, and because it replicates, it's 888. And that's going to be replicated in our meditation that we've selected for today, which is the sunlight meditation. And it runs for 8 minutes or 888 seconds all the way. And it's more of a masculine energy in that way, because that's where a lot of our traumas, that's where a lot of our hang-ups and all the things are stored in our masculine side of our bodies. The feminine side takes care of the caring, the creation, the ideas, the intuition, all the soft skills. All right, but it is the masculine part of us that hold all of the stuff that happened to us as a child. The stuff that we thought we weren't meant to do. We weren't meant to say anything. And that's where all of it's going to be. That's why we're going to be playing that later on today. Okay. So the year of 2025, Spirit has selected this particular year to be one of transition, one of transformation. And wants you really to finally look at what your energy has done to get to this point. And if you're on this earth at this point, congratulations. You've gone through some of the most difficult parts of your life, and you're still here. And we're so delighted. This particular light has a very special resonance to it. It illuminates and activates various light codes within our DNA. Now, we've said this on other shows where we've said that the DNA itself has 2 strands. Remember the picture of the DNA where it shows that there's 2 strands in a spiral? Well, that's not exactly true. It is in a spiral, but we have way more than 2 strands. We actually have 12. We have 12 dimensions that are basically ready to go. So we are built for 4th and 5th dimensional, even some 6th dimensional work while we are still in a physical body. That's how powerful this DNA is. 2 are activated. That's the one where we feel and all the things that we are in 3rd dimension. And as we start transitioning through this, these light codes that's coming through the Lion's Gate are going to start flickering on with toggle switches. Of course, not all of them, but there's some will be activated and illuminated. So we'll be looking at 3 strands and 4 strands. So Tony, what does that really mean? What it essentially means is that by opening up your consciousness, opening up another part of you that already exists, This is not something that's going to come to you. You already have it. I used the analogy in one of the shows where, let's say a person wants to open up a car wash business and doesn't know how well it's going to do. So instead of opening up all 12 of these car washes all in a row, well, let's just see how it goes. So they open up 2 of them to see how the cars come in and how they wash themselves. And as people start complaining that there's longer lineups, that there's longer things going on, they're frustrated, they're angry, I'm never going to come back again, then you can just turn on the car wash that's already built. It just needs you to turn it on. And so now there's 3, and then there's 4, and it's that kind of thing. So you came in already with 12 strands, knowing that there's 2 that's activated, and you're going to be turning on the others with your permission. You got to realize that your brilliance is far more than you can ever think possible. And that's what these lights codes are going to be doing. They're off on switches sort of thing. And that's where we want you to sort of focus on it. So the inner work that you're doing is so important right now, because this is where you're going to be able to get to that point that you've always wanted to get to, particularly women. Women have been in many, many centuries, going back thousands of years. They've always been belittled, and in many ways, men have used them in various ways. And that is also going to be changing over the next while. So women are going to have the best chance of getting through this because they have more at stake. They are the essence and the goddesses of creation. And men need to realize that there is a power that women have that we just need to let them do their thing. On the most part, we do that now. But we need to open up those opportunities so that they can just step in and bring this brilliance to us, to the world in every way. So the light itself, when you are looking at building up your light, building up your DNA strands. And we're not sort of focusing on the DNA itself, but that's what happens in the end. But before that, your work is just to simply commit to be happy. I know, it sounds so easy, eh? Commit to be happy, that no matter what happens, there's got to be something good that'll come out of this. And it's way, way beyond positive thinking. Okay, this is more of a lifestyle. If something bad happens, do you laugh at it? You know, the other day, it just seemed like various things were happening throughout my morning. And no matter what I was doing, there was a delay, more delays. And then other things, like a 5-minute job took me 2 hours to get done. And after a while, I just started laughing. I says, what is going on? And so some people will react to that with anger and start throwing things. And so that is their central disposition. But if you're committed to just, you know what, I just want to get through this in the happiest, lightest way possible. If that is your commitment, that will come out in all kinds of facets of your life. Somebody once said that if you want to know how somebody really is inside, get them drunk, because that's when their true essence comes out. Think about it. A person that is happy inside, but they don't say a whole lot, as soon as they bring down the inhibitions, okay, as soon as the alcohol in this chemical reaction starts making them free, then you'll see what their real energy is like. And they're called happy drunks. They're called happy because even when the mind goes down, that's when their true essence comes out. But it also works the other way. When they are in that position, more anger comes out. And that's their disposition, because when a person is angry, they have to work so hard to stay happy. So they have a facade. They have a face that they want everyone to see. But when they go home at night and they look themselves in the mirror, they know that they're not enough, or they know that the whole world is against them, or they might even think that the whole world owes them a living. Whatever the case is, it will come out when those inhibitions come down. So the inner work is vital to be able to get to the point where you can say, this is me, this is my authentic me. The light that's going to be coming in through Lionsgate is basically a human upgrade. In this way, we've got to treat it as such. Well, what do we do when we upgrade our computer? one of the first things that the computer does is it says, please do not shut off your computer. Please do not, if you are downloading, let's say, a piece of music, or you're downloading something and that's coming in and it's an upgrade, you're downloading something. The first thing it says is, please do not refresh your screen. Please do not leave this site. You can leave the site, but like don't cut it off. In other words, when this light comes in, the last thing you want to do is start doing housework or do other things that is distracting. You need to be in a receiving mode where you're sitting down, breathing, and we're going to show you some quick tips and techniques of how to do some of that stuff so that this light today, August the 8th, is going to be the highest value for you, okay? This is where all of your DNA will wake up, and this is where all of the additional energy that you might have is going to start going to. So be prepared to be tired. Be prepared to be fatigued. That's one of the first things that people will say is that, gee, after whatever session we had and we changed a number of things in their energy, the next day they're so tired. Some of them will even pick up a cold or something, but they're tired because now the energies are focused on upgrading some of the things that we did in our session. But like this is like a massive global session. Everyone is in for a tuning session, whether you like it or not. They want the world to be able to just receive love and give love, be compassionate, be somebody that's going to make a difference. And by just being happy, you're going to make a difference because someone else is going to observe you that looks up to you, and it'll be just enough for them to keep going. Because sometimes people will just say, this isn't working, because they're looking for immediate gratification. They want to see the effects of what they're doing right away. That will happen in time, as our energies will grow up and will ascend and will get to a higher vibration, and it's absolutely 100%. It is instilled in our destiny that our consciousness will be going up. When we get to that level, what we think we're going to be able to manifest. But that comes at a higher vibration. Where we are right now, the vibration is a little low compared to some of the higher echelon type energies. Okay? So it's just like a magnet. If I take a very weak magnet, I don't think I can even pick up a paperclip. But if I have a strong one, I could probably pick up an entire pile of paper clips. So it's just about that attraction to bring things to you. With a very low magnet energy, I have to be almost right on what I want for it to be able to be attracted to it. But there's something much more powerful. 6 inches away, it'll just suck it in. So in other words, we have that glorified opportunity right now to be able to work on ourselves to a point where we want to raise our vibration. This means some of the old stuff, some of the traumas and some of the things we've gone through, they will have to go. And you've probably been hearing this from many counselors if you've been going to people like myself from all over the world, whoever's watching, and it's always been like that. And that always gave you the option to be able to get rid of that stuff. And what Spirit is saying now is that the time of whether or not I should is kind of coming to a close. They're going to make it so that will be one of the biggest things on your mind all the time, because it's pushing our energy up in a loving way, of course. It's not being forced, but they're lovingly saying that you need to let that go. I know what they did was wrong. Whatever wrong is, whatever it made you feel, whether you felt not heard or whether you felt useless or whether you felt that it was just inappropriate what was done and they could have done better, that all has to go. Over the last 12 years, basically, since 2012, we've had the opportunity to be able to do this on our own, at our own pace, at our own time, and there's no effects or anything. With 2025, it's sort of nudging you forward. It's just loving you, bringing you to that place where, okay, let's take care of this and be done with it. So old wounds, traumas, and different forms of what they call unaddressed light that's sort of hiding in the corner is all going to get light. There's going to be such an intense amount of light. It's like putting a 1,000-watt light bulb in a room. You don't need 5 of them. You just need one. One will be able to illuminate the entire room, where even the shadows, then it's bouncing off the walls and even around sofas or whatever, it's going to see some light. And that's kind of what it's like to be able to look at some of the things that have happened to you that you might still be holding on to. And it's always ending in something that is of love for you. The reason you're letting it go is not to say that what they did, they got away with. All right? That's where forgiveness comes in. But the reason you're letting it go is because it's not serving you anymore. It's weighing your body down. Your body is showing signs of weakness. Your body is showing signs that it can't handle the weight of this. If somebody did something to you and it broke your heart, well, if you hold on to that long enough, you will see that on an x-ray in 20 years. And that's fact. That has happened many times. But the moment you let that go, you just feel like all of a sudden you can breathe again. Now think about it. Something that is a thought can make you breathe easier. That's a thing. It's just like washing your car. How many people, after they wash their car and it's spotless and you go with a rag and you put wax on it and then they drive their car, how many people drive different? How many people drive different after they just got a brand new suit or a brand new clothing that they would just love, and they go shopping and they go somewhere to a cocktail party or to a barbecue, whatever, and they love what they're wearing? How many people walk different because they're wearing it? And it has nothing to do with your emotion. It's just that whatever it is, you feel that you're lighter, you walk different, you talk different, you talk more confident. I don't know what it is with me and shirts with cufflinks. I have no idea, but when I'm wearing, I turn into a different person. My dad used to always say, when you are in the presence of a person that has cufflinks, that is a person that's a gentleman. And it always stuck with me. And he said that like literally 60 years ago. And I never forgot as a kid. And I didn't understand it. And so there would be musicians that would wear cufflinks while they're playing their music. I always had a higher respect for them. I don't know why. It's just one of those things. So what is it for you that makes you feel higher, that makes you feel lighter? And that's what Spirit is suggesting that you start doing. By addressing some of the trapped energies that is in your system, in your soul, in your body, by starting to address those things, this is where we start getting lighter. But like I've heard from many of my clients, they said, well, I just don't want to talk about it. Whatever that was done to me, I don't want to talk about it. And I understand why, because there are people in various professions that one of the first things they ask is, okay, tell me what happened. Now you have to retell and relive what you went through decades ago. And Spirit says, no wonder people don't want to do that. So whatever it is, you can do this yourself. All you seem to need, we're going to show you some techniques. Hopefully we'll have some time to give you one quick technique when we go off and we visit with our other members. We have a bonus section with our members. We'll give you a little bit more, but we'll give you something today while we have the time, okay? But it's all about raising your vibration to the point that they're now almost angelic vibrations. So we're at that point that whatever an angel would do, that's what you would do. If you saw a dog that was stuck in a fence or something, how many people would stop the car and help the dog? That's angels in work, and I see videos on that all the time, and I always tear up that here's a person that he was late for an appointment, and he stopped to help this animal off this fence because the dog tried to jump over it and got stuck, and he couldn't get out. So it is all kinds of things like that. What would an angel do that you could do? Because that's why they're called earth angels. When you have that vibration, you just feel like helping and you don't expect anything in return. You don't even, at that point, you're not even looking for a thank you. If you get it, great, but I didn't do it for the, someone that'll be grateful. I just did it because you were in distress and I just wanted to help. That's it. I might not even leave my name. I might not even leave, but some people will do that. Oh, make sure that if you put this on Facebook, okay, here's my name, and I'm not interested in any of that. I just wanted to help for the sake of helping. That's what angels do. And let people find out who you are in other ways, because the energies are so expansive in that way. What it also does, this particular energy that's coming in with Lionsgate, is it starts upgrading all of the cells in your body. We have 30 trillion cells or something in our body, and it upgrades the power of those cells so that they can communicate more effectively with each other. Now, they're already in a very high communicative state, but there is a lag, because in third dimension, when we look at things black and white, then the cells will vibrate at a certain speed, and it will tell other cells the same thing. So it'll still go through your whole body. But imagine doing it instantly. Whatever happens in your foot, your whole body will feel it and go to. A lot of it is done that way already, but it's only certain cells that are able to do that. Now, we also have looked at the various cells in our heart. In one of the shows, we mentioned that there's about 40,000 cells in your heart that is very, very similar to the 40,000 that is in your brain that are doing the same thing. So in other words, when you have a trauma about something, you remember what that trauma was. You remember because you were there and you went through all the emotion of it, whether it was a beating or whether it was something horrible, whatever it was. Your brain was there, but your heart was there too. And your brain doesn't forget. There's that same cells in your heart as well. So when people start to go through the therapy of trying to go through and release some of these traumas in their head, and they've done miraculous breakthroughs, what they forget is the heart still remembers. The energy of that trauma is still in your heart. So it has to be addressed there as well. And this is why when people go through it, I've gone through so many sessions and I just can't get it through my head. It isn't that. You've gone through it with your head and it's healed, but what's coming up is the trauma from the brain of your heart. And that's what this Lion Gate is connected to. It is a heart trauma light. And if you turn yourself into various things, hopefully I'll have some time to give you at least one example, so that when this light comes through, you're letting it go through your whole body as if you're transparent. So you're pretending that you're like a screen, and you can see right through yourself. And any of those traumas that are still there, the light will go right through it. But what will prevent people from doing that is the first thing they'll say is, well, if I do that, I'll feel vulnerable. I'll feel that I'm sort of naked. I'm not protected. I'm this or I'm that. I feel shame. Well, those might be all true. But in doing this visual, knowing that you can see right through yourself, it's just you being able to see yourself that's transparent. And you're visualizing this light going straight through your body, and anything that is heavy, that is from past traumas, in your brain of your heart is then translucent, transcended. It just goes through, and it will have a huge effect over the next several days of how you will be looking at this same trauma. Now, you're still going to remember, but it won't be such a hit, as I call it, with your emotion. It's like, yeah, I remember that, but you know what, I've learned from it. And so you're looking at it more from an intelligent perspective than from an emotional trigger. Does that make sense? That's what triggers are. When there's a light switch, that's a light switch, that's a trigger. And you go to any room in your home, and I will bet anything that almost every light in your home is not where the switch is. Because the switch is usually on the wall, but the light is on the ceiling. And so the light is usually somewhere else, based on where the switch or the trigger is. So in the memory of the trauma, of course, the switch is going to be in your heart. And that's sometimes the ones that we avoid. I don't want to talk about it because it's going to bring up that emotion, because that's what they say. It brings up that emotion, and it's like I'm being abused all over again. Okay, so then let's address it. Let's look at it, and in this light, we're going to be able to make yourself transparent so the light goes right through, and like a screen, it will come out the other side if we do this right. Okay, and it's just that you being open for you to do that. The whole idea of this whole process is to be able to take our carbon-based bodies, and that's what it is, it's carbon-based, to more of a crystalline-based, so it's more crystals. To this day, every man, woman, and child on this planet has more crystals in their bloodstream, microscopic crystals in their bloodstream, than there was 25 years ago. So it's already happening. There's more crystals in our brain. There's more crystals in our blood. In every fluid that we have, there's more minute energetic crystals in there. So it's setting us up for this higher dimension already. Now, one of the shifts that this will allow is that once your cells start to communicate better with each other, you will feel lighter faster. So in other words, if something happens, there's an emotion, you realize everything is safe. Some people will take an hour to sort of detox from whatever happened. One example is, let's say you've got some shopping bags and you're at the top of the stairs and the bags are in front of you, so you can't see your feet. And so you almost misstep it, and then you could sort of catch yourself. You would have fallen down the stairs. Okay, to some people, an act like that, even though you're safe, you didn't hurt yourself, but you almost did, some people will hold on to that for hours, literally hours. And I've seen it myself. It's like, oh, something happened to me last week, and they explain this. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. But could you imagine? I almost fell down those stairs. Okay, but you didn't. So in other words, after a week, they're still talking about it. So this is when your cells aren't really communicating with each other, because now that you're safe, you'll be able to, in seconds, go back to, I'm safe, I'm good, let's keep going. And so that takes practice. That's going to take some consciousness level, so that realizing that what almost happened is fear. And that's the biggest culprit in this whole ascension process. The hesitation. Well, what if something happens that's not going to be good? Well, what if I go through this and it gets worse? Well, what if you go through this and it gets a lot better? You know, we can say the same argument in the opposite way, and, you know, neither one can be proved. Neither one can be, but you can certainly prove that if you're going to hesitate and not do anything, nothing happens. You know, the old saying is, I went and did nothing and then nothing happened. Boy, how does that work? Of course, if you don't do anything, nothing will happen. However, if you are in this point where you are saying, okay, I can do this. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know where or how it's going to happen or what the effects are, but I just have this feeling it's going to be good for me. So that's going to be something that's going to be pretty magnificent once you get there. So it's the hesitation and the fear. The fear is not real. The feelings are, though. When people say, I feel scared, no, your mind says you're scared, and now your whole body is reacting to the mind being scared. But if something happens that is uncertain, there might be a little bit of fear, I'll just go to my heart. How does this feel? I'm feeling it's fine. So in other words, I can still feel fear, but in my heart, it's another dimension. It is not connected to this earth. Your heart, that's why it's beating, because it's not connected to the earth. It's connected to what's outside of us. So when you consult that, you'll usually get, yeah, I'm fine, but yeah, it's a little uncertain, but I'm getting it's okay. You know, like this is what happens when a curfew comes with your kids, and you say they got to be home at, let's say, midnight, and it's now 12:30. What is every parent thinking? You know, oh, they're in the ditch or something, or maybe the car wouldn't start and they're, God knows where they are, and we're already thinking of the worst. But then when we just think of ourselves, like I've raised this person really well, and they're smart because, yours truly is, and I gave them everything I had. I'm feeling they're fine. And within 10 minutes they come in. Yeah, we said bye to everybody. It took longer than we figured. And we said, oh my God, look at the time, we're late. And it's fine. But that only happens when you consult your heart, when you consult that brain of yours that's in your heart. This is where you need to start doing rituals. Right at this time in the Lion's Gate portal, doing rituals like yoga. There are many people that do yoga, meditation. Look at a way to connect in different ways. Some people will meditate a couple of times in a day in this realm. And I would certainly suggest that. And as soon as you start to get a little tired, just sit down, close your eyes, and just see yourself as being transparent to start with. Or you can see yourself in a room, and the only thing you see is your heart and your lungs. Your whole body has disappeared, and you just see those things. It gets your mind something to do while you're connecting to home base, okay? That's going to be huge in this way, because the portal itself, this Lion's Gate, is of course connected to Leo, and it has the symbol of the lion. And like the lion, though, it has courage, it has this heart-centered strength, and of course, it will have sovereignty. It will have this ability that it will be able to connect to itself. I don't need someone else's permission to do something. If you are still looking at permission, trying to get wonder what the neighbors will see if they see me doing yoga on the balcony, and everybody can see me, or they can see me do something outside, and it doesn't matter. It's like, if you feel like you're going to do it, it's all about you. And maybe what you might do is, while you're doing those things and people can see it, it might remind them that, you know what, I need to do more yoga, or I need to do more meditating. You might actually remind them and keep them on track. And there'll be a select few that'll say, oh, look at this guy. He's out on this balcony. Geez, it would be nice if he had pants on or something. That's just a joke. But the point is, I'm trying to bring humor to the reality that you do your own thing. You vibrate to your own whatever instrument that you have and the beat of your own drum. And this will make you that inner power that it doesn't matter what other people are thinking, because this is your path. This is something that you're going to be able to do. One thing that is for certain, as this light travels through you, and it's been over the last 8 days, and it will be continuing from 8 days from now, okay? Right now is the middle of this portal. In doing that, as it passes your aura, it will start repairing itself. That's right. Your aura also is a being that is hurt. There are 6 different ways you can injure your aura. I'm about to do a presentation on that to another group. Hope everybody can see me. Okay, here we go. I'm just about to do a presentation on that to another group on auras. And there's 6 different ways to injure your aura. There are leaky auras. There are auras that have black spots in it. There are auras that have the different traumas built into them that are literally 20, 30, 40 years old. And it's in that aura, but it doesn't go anywhere. It's like a satellite going around the earth. It just goes around and it goes around. And your body knows it's there and also knows it's not being addressed. So it doesn't do anything, okay? So this is the thing. But when this light passes through your aura, it cleans up all that stuff. It's really beautiful, okay? So it does it automatically. You don't even have to visualize that to be able to do that, okay? But in going through this, one thing you have to really try and do is be patient with yourself, all right? Realize that your path is different from someone else's. If somebody appears that they're advancing more and they're doing more, they've got groups going, and they seem, in your perception, that they're ahead, don't let that bother you, because whatever that they went through brought them to where they are today. Just like you. All the things that have ever happened in your life brought you to where you are today. And nothing is wasted. Spirit says everything you experience, you needed to. Maybe some of them wasn't very nice. Maybe some of them you figured, why did I have to go through that? But in some way, it had to create a level of resilience, a level of strength that the lion has. The lion doesn't have to shout at the top of the rock. It just sits there, and all the animals know it's the king or the queen of the jungle. But besides, it's the lionesses that does the hunting. And so in other words, there are many ways that you can just exude this power without saying a word, without demonstrating that you have to prove anything to other people. Okay? Now here's the other part of it. We're going to get to the meditation in a minute. Okay? Spirit wants to just relay one more thing. While you're doing this, and while the overall consciousness and the vibration of the earth is getting higher, is raising, it is rising, okay, you'll still see turmoil in various parts of the world. You will, because the turmoil is happening because they are feeling that light and they are not reacting very well to it. It's like somebody saying, I need you to let something go. No! I'm not going to, and they hold on even tighter, right? And so in doing that, if they have anger, if they have vengeance, if they have rage in their system, and they're perfectly happy having them to keep there, of course, when this light comes up, they're going to resist even more. They're going to get more frustrated, and there's more turmoil. And all they need to see is there are evidence of people rising. There are evidence of being people that are still compassionate, even when they see and feel other people creating harm. And this is where we need to not judge. They are going through their process, and it's going to be probably nothing like yours. We may even say, well, there's a lot of work going on there. That may be so, but that is their work. But one of the things that I have seen is when some people seem to be falling behind, if we looked at that perception as a human, that they're not really getting it, then all of a sudden they get it. And then they expand so quickly, like within months, they are actually a different person. So we don't need to see how they're doing at the moment. It's just the fact that their journey is going to be a little different. And they're going to be able to catch up, or will need to catch up in their own way. And that's their work. It's not your job to be able to help them and hold their hand for them to get through it. Because here's the other end of the straw, or the other end of the spectrum of that. If you have to help somebody by holding their hand to get to another place, when they get there, they've only then realized that they can't do it themselves. You've disabled them. They now realize that they need you or someone else to do it. And Spirit is not agreeing with that. You can do this on your own. And so this is why when they ask, or sometimes they don't ask, but we sometimes volunteer the information. I used to do that in my early years, but I stopped doing that because it was actually creating a sense of frustration, and they were going actually backwards the more I tried to help them, that they didn't want help. So they have to ask. If they ask, how do you do this? Can you show me some techniques? Yes, I can. But I can't help them if they're not asking, because Spirit doesn't want me to help, and I actually get penalized for it if I ever did that again, right? So that's the idea. This is their collective confusion, and let them go through it. So you're still going to see some wars. You're still going to see some people doing, oddball, kooky stuff, and it's okay. That's their process. They will have to look back and be able to live with all the things that they did to other people when they start ascending the same way you are about to. And then they have to look at it as, gee, that wasn't such a great idea, was it? They have to live with it, and that's karmic and everything else, and that's their work. Okay, so it's not our job to hold their hand and get them to see their brilliance. They will do that on their own. Okay, we're gonna get right into the Lion's Gate. Before we start, and before this show started, Spirit told me right away that because of the collective consciousness that's going around, and I just caught this a couple of hours ago, I'm going to be doing a special Lionsgate sound bathing tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. This is free for anyone in the world. We're going to be on Zoom and we're going to be on Facebook Live, just as we are right now at 8 o'clock tonight. We're probably going to log in about 10 minutes before so we can get everyone's sound going or whatever. And then we're going to be doing a 64-minute sound bathing. 64 minutes meaning 8 times 8. Okay? Everything will end in an 8. I have, and I'm sort of very tight with my space, I can bring in 8 people in person. If you want to come, just email me at info@lovehigherself.com and just in the subject line put, I am so in. Okay? The first 8 people that can do that, then you could come in person if you wish. But there, as I said, there's no cost, and we're going to be on Zoom and we're going to be on Facebook Live like we are right now, because Spirit wants this to go through in the easiest way, and I expect nothing in return. I just want all of you to feel this love that the world is going to be feeling tonight, because it's going to be very intense at 8 p.m. tonight, and I want all of you to take advantage of it, okay? And I'm just going to send that out, and whatever that means to you, if you feel you need to be there, be there. If you don't, that's okay. We're not taking attendance, okay? So with our meditation that we're going to do, I want you to turn your whole body into a screen. A screen, you know, the same screen that you open your door and there's a screen so the flies don't come in. Your whole body is this screen and you can see right through it. All your traumas that is in your heart, in your body, and anywhere else, you can see, because you can see right through it, okay? And then when the meditation starts, it's a sunlight meditation. It'll run for 888 seconds exactly, okay? So that's about 14 minutes or something, okay? And in that time, I want you to just receive this beautiful light that's coming in. All right, it's this beautiful sunlight, and it's encoded with various light codes that will start turning on and switching on various parts of your DNA to bring you to this expansive state. Okay, take a deep breath, breathe in the color light blue so that you have the freedom to express, and you can also exhale green, which is your heart chakra color. Okay, let's see where we are in the next while, okay, people? Okay, breathe in, and we'll see you in a bit. Slowly come out of the state that you're in. Try and remember what you saw, what you felt. Check your temperature, your physical temperature. Are you cold? Are you burning up like crazy? What is your disposition? What came up? It might be a certain theme of what's coming up. Was it something that was a breakup, like a relationship or something, or something to do with the heart, some kind of emotion that sort of struck? Okay. Know that what you've already been through, since you're doing it already today, you've made an impact on your energy, without any doubt. So those of you that would like to come to the Lionsgate sound bathing tonight, again, it is at no cost. I just got this download 2 hours ago. After the channeling of this show, it never came up a couple of days ago. But they basically said, Tony, we need you. I says, okay. Always willing to help. So I'm putting it to you that whatever they're going to do tonight through me, I would like you to receive. It's being sent in the highest of love. So we're going to start on 8 o'clock. We're probably going to be live about 15 minutes before. So there's time for people to come in, get their sound working, bring earbuds or headphones, because the sounds you're going to hear from tuning forks and so on, just so that they're really, really in there. And you'll need 2 glasses of water. And we ask for 2 because one will be on the right side of your computer, which will take all the stuff that'll come out of you. And the other water you'll be drinking. So you want to keep those in 2 separate places. You'll also have a crystal of some kind. If you have a crystal, get your favorite crystal. And if you don't have a crystal, there's a couple of people that aren't really into crystals and so on. You could use a gold chain for now. It'll go onto your right side, and afterwards it'll just go on your windowsill facing the moon for one night, and then during the day for the next to clear it, okay? So all I'm suggesting is if you know of somebody that is going through a tough time, or if you have a best friend, or tell everybody, get as many people on as possible. Whether you're in Zoom or whether you come in, there's no cost. Like I can take 8 people and that's it. But I'll leave it to your, whatever you are feeling. If you need something, we are there for you. So if we see you later on tonight, that'll be great. If not, have yourself a great weekend and know that you are loved. Until next week, you take care. Okay. So those on Facebook Live, we'll talk to you next week.